Morning YouTube. Bohdi is watching Toy Story and I'm gonna tell you a story while he's a little distracted. I always got the same spot to tell a story. Today is our Hello Monday, I believe it's episode 13 today, and we're gonna be talking about the time I asked Earl, my father-in-law, if I could marry his daughter. Spoiler alert, he said yes. We're coming up on our 5th-year wedding anniversary. So yeah, but it wasn't as simple as just asking him. I had a failed attempt of trying to ask, and then I had a successful attempt of asking, which obviously he resulted in saying yes, but it's just I thought it would be interesting. Oh god. I thought it would be interesting to discuss, in case anybody else is trying to ask their father-in-law how to marry their daughter and doesn't know how to do it, because nobody taught me how to do it. Sorry. And in case you all forgot, Hello Monday is a one take, so no editing in this in regards to stopping and starting. I might put some pictures and speed and clips and stuff, but yeah, you're gonna get it all. This is Earl. Insert picture here. The big tall guy, that's Earl. The little small guy, that's my son. All right. So when I first moved to America, my sole intent was to get to meet Casey's family. At the time, she's just my girlfriend. I haven't even asked her if I can marry her yet. But mainly, the sole focus really was, I've got to meet her dad and I've got to ask him if I can marry her, and I've got to somehow make him say yes. Now, I am from a different country, never met this guy before in my life, and I've never done this before, so I was nervy as hell. I didn't know what to do. So, my idea was, within the first 2 weeks, I was just going to get to know him, hang out, and hopefully get him to like me, and I didn't really force that. I was just going to be myself, because if I'm being honest, had he said no, I would have still asked her to marry me. I know that's bad, you're not meant to do that, but I was going to marry her regardless. But the right thing to do is ask the dad if you can marry the daughter, so that's what I wanted to do. After the first 2 weeks, we had a little trip planned to walk down the Grand Canyon. So, from the top to the bottom, all the way back up. And I was going to, at some point, try and pull Earl to one side and be like, can I marry your daughter? Because I thought the scenery would be cool. I thought we'd spend enough time, like a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, getting to know each other. And I really wanted to ask him sooner rather than later. I didn't want to wait too long, because I knew I wanted to then ask my wife, and I had to think of how to do that. I was not very prepared. It was kind of all, I need to do it, let's do it. That's kind of how I am in life. But anyway, as we were walking down the Grand Canyon, I got particularly sick. The reason I got sick is for the previous 2-3 weeks of being in America, I had not been able to keep any of the food down. My stomach was not used to the food here in America, and I'd been vomiting and diarrhea and sick for 2-3 weeks, so I really had nothing in my system. And I guess walking down the bottom of the Grand Canyon and trying to walk back up it in the same day, it's quite a physical feat. It turns out, on the way down, I told my now wife that I don't feel so good. And then all of a sudden, I don't remember anything. And supposedly I was walking like a zombie, no electrolytes, no substance, no nothing, and I had to hold onto someone's back all the way back up. So that kind of went to pot. That kind of went out the window. I was in no position even to walk, let alone to ask my father-in-law if I could marry his daughter. And also, that wasn't very impressive now, was it? It's oh yeah, of course you can, you weak little thing. You can marry my daughter and protect her. So I scratched that, but that was, and I felt so bad for like a week or so afterwards, because that was my whole idea. Let's walk down the Grand Canyon, I'll ask Earl if I can marry her. He'll say yes, and then it'll all get going. Well, then I was like, have to rethink this plan. After that, I just tried to think of a new plan, and at the time, we were going quite regularly to baseball games here in Tucson. There used to be a team called Tucson Padres, and played like minor league or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. I'd never been to a baseball game before, and then we started going, and I really started to enjoy it. And it was a good social activity. I'm not really still a big fan of baseball, but the going out to watch the game was fun. And then one day, I was thinking to myself, you know what? We're going to the baseball game tonight, I'm going to ask him. And my wife came, and I was like, that kind of like threw a spanner in the works. And I'm like, oh God, how am I now going to ask him with Casey here. So at one point I was like, oh Casey, do you think you can go get me a drink? And I nudged her, told her, get out of here. She didn't know it was coming, but she kind of was like, what the hell? Doesn't usually do that. So yeah, she went and got me a drink, and I knew I had like the window, the time was ticking down, tick, 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 tick. I only had a certain amount of time to ask Earl, and I was like, how do I get from nothing to a yes in the time it takes my wife to go get me a drink and come back? And I'm like, okay, quick, boom, start the conversation. 1, 2, 3, 4, hit them, talking about baseball, talking about the week, talking about life, talking about it. Then all of a sudden, talking about his daughter. Tell me a little bit about her. Then I told him, and I just blurted it out really. Like I said, kind of like this video, no thought to it or like written down or nothing. I just went, Earl, I love your daughter. And he looked at us dead in the eye and he goes, I want to ask you for permission to marry her. And he looked at us, put his hand on his shoulder, bearing in mind his hand is like this big in comparison to mine. And he said something along the lines of, it'd be an honor to have you as a son-in-law. Yes, you can marry my daughter. And I was like, it was like a wave of just relief. It was, and I was like, yes, yes. And then I was so happy, and he had a big smile on his face because he knew now I think he knew at that point that I was super serious about being with Casey, but obviously this confirmed it, that I really wanted to be with her, that I wanted to marry her, and that I think he appreciated the fact that I'd asked him if I could marry her. My wife started coming down the stairs. That conversation had to get put on hold, and then I couldn't really focus on the baseball game after that. The next thing I could think about was, now how do I ask my wife to marry me? 2 seconds, I think Bohdi's running away. I'll be right back. Time lapse here, Chris. In case you didn't know yet, this little man can open every door in the house now, so can't really leave him for too long. But, okay, to finish the story, you want this block? What is that, huh? Chocolate? Can you say chocolate? Say chocolate. To finish the story, obviously I'm holding my 2-year-old here. I've got the wedding ring on. It all went well. Everything was great. But one of the most nerve-wracking things I ever had to do in my life was to ask my now father-in-law if I could marry his daughter. And, you want to be on the camera? Can you stand up? I'm going to sign off, and then should we go watch the rest of Toy Story? It's raining outside today, so I think we're going to go out and play a little bit because we've got to walk the dog, and then we're going to be inside the whole time. Alright, that was my little put together story of how I asked my father-in-law to marry his daughter. Good luck if you're in the process of doing it, and leave the comments below on how you did it. And did you ever get a no? Or did you ever have a failed attempt like me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, chocolate. Alright, thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this and you enjoy our channel, we don't always do one takes. Check out some of our other videos. There's some links here on the side, and there's some stuff coming up on the screen right now. Give the video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Chocolate, yeah. Can you say bye?
Bye.
Do you want some?